Hi, welcome. On this video, I want to apply context to reward and motivation in terms of dealing with a over-the-top dog that has gained a lot of control within the parameters of, of lowering down the potential for triggering aggression and conflict in the relationship, but while at the same time making sure that you're truly focused on the process in such a way that's going to get a dog to release control. Okay, so it's like learning how to switch gears. Now, this is the thing. The majority of all situations I'm dealing with, I am not focused on reward that way whatsoever, okay, at the beginning. In terms of the context of the level of control dogs are holding and the issue about agreeableness, but it's a context of what I'm focused on in terms of even advocating, getting dog owners to kind of reverse what they're doing. Is they're digging themselves out of a hole, so to speak. And so what you don't want to do is focus that way on reward. And here's the scenario too in terms of reward. When dog trainers are advocating rewarding a dog or motivating a dog, they're focused merely at a response level, defining response that way in terms of, so when a dog goes into the sit, when the dog responds and goes into those positions, okay, the trainers are rewarding dogs. They're marking what they define as a behavior. In reality, it's just a response, and typically it's just staying at that level. But they're rewarding a dog, motivating a dog to build a picture that way. Okay, not considering why that is so problematic based on stepping into a process. Dogs are already holding a level of control, and so what it does is it either dogs are able to hold a high level of control, a certain level of control is released, or they're just kind of stalled out altogether. I mean, that's the scenario. Now, because they're not focused, again, they're not focused on the interaction part of that, okay, in terms of how influence is intersecting those interactions to change the perception of the dog. They're not looking at they're looking at motivating the dog differently, okay, for a different reason. In this system of training, okay, it's different in the sense of what it's doing in terms of influence, okay. It's the focus on these interactions, okay, what the interactions themselves represent, not the finished position when the dog goes into the sit. That's not the focus. Or the dog goes into the completing a down. Okay, that's not the focus. The focus is on, okay, influence, how influence, the dog coming into agreement with influence based on how it's intersecting these interactions, okay? Just understand that's the focus. So this is why you don't see me rewarding dogs, motivating dogs that way to reward the dog for positions. That's not where the focus is at or on. Now, working with the dog, and now if you go and watch the video of me working with the dog that just came in, the pit bull, Conrad, just trying to think of his name for a second, Conrad, okay, on a video you'll see me actually, and this is the thing about some dogs, when dogs have hit a high tipping point level, and I'm stepping into that role as a trainer, okay, on a board and train, okay, we're just me and the dog. And so what happens is it can generate a lot of conflict based on how the dog perceives me, based on the level of control that dog's holding. And as you can see, the conflict goes way up. And how I'm offsetting that when I'm working directly with owners, or I have the ability to have an owner there, I'm manipulating control, okay? I'm de-escalating it by having the owner handle the dog, and I'm coaching them. And so again, the dog's gonna be more agreeable to the interactions, okay? However, when I'm taking a board and train situation and it's just me and the dog, and this is when the owner leaves the scene, the dog identifies me, it can become very, very challenging, okay, with these dogs, some of these dogs. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to do everything I can to decrease the potential for conflict, but still emphasizing, okay, because I'm focused on the interaction part of it. So what happens is, because it's focused on, gaining control that way through these interactions, it can really trigger high conflict. So what I'm doing here, it's interesting because you watch the video, I'm talking a little bit about it, because you'll see me actually using rewarding, motivating Conrad to move forward, okay, after, you know, a couple, 3 or 4 interactions, because what's happening is the level of conflict's going so high up. I'm doing that to decrease it, okay, but not to reward the dog for a response, a superficial picture. That's not what I'm doing. I'm rewarding Conrad for coming into agreement by way of control, by way of me asserting influence through those interactions, okay. So what I'm doing is I'm leveling myself down a little bit, but understand that the focus, how I'm doing it, is not the same that way. I'm doing it, okay, to basically deceive Conrad into thinking that he's still, you know, he's still in control to a certain level. And so, but I'm just applying a little bit of manipulation to do that in order to kind of level things out. But that fades out too. That's just a way to basically avoid high conflict with some dogs, where I don't have the ability to kind of have the owner do it that way, which is the way I typically will do it. So just understand that when you're doing certain things, it's understanding how it's coming together. It's understanding what your focus needs to be on to generate change. And so, you know, the context of what you're doing, because here's the thing is people will look at something and they'll do it, and they'll apply, say, using a motivated dog and rewarding a dog, but it takes on totally different meaning because they're not switching gears, okay? They're building the picture. That's just how they see the relationship. That's how they see change, generating change that way. And it sets up this really bad scenario, because what happens is, yes, they can get away with not getting bitten and not entering into a level of conflict with the dog within the training environment, but that dog is still going to hold control and end up biting somebody, or they get out in the open somewhere, and this is where things go haywire. Then that's the problem. Understand that, you know, it's all about understanding what your end goal is. It's understanding why you're doing what you're doing to better the relationship. It's just like being a parent. I mean, a parent can interact with a child all day long, and you know, and appeal to the child's selfishness and all that, and appear to kind of get along, right? But it's when you go out into the public in certain situations where the real motives are going to be exposed, and then you're going to see it. Okay, it's the same thing. But it's understanding that if you can't take the easy road. Okay, there appears to be an easy road, even with dog training. There appears to be, and that's what's popular. Appears to be a way to train dogs that allows you to you know, overcome behavioral issues. It's a total deception. Okay, understand, it's about understanding what's going on beyond the appearance of things. So I just want to put it out there that it's about, there's dynamics that are going on even in this process, but it has different meaning, different context. I'm doing things a certain way, but my mind is always on making sure, okay, that the process is happening a certain way for a certain result, okay, to make sure truly the dog's being fixed. So again, I just want to put it out there. I encourage people to really look at what I'm doing, think about it. You know, Conrad's doing great, but again, it's really, you know, you have to really know when you're working with some dogs, you have to really be intentional with what you're doing to make sure that you're not going to get bitten. You know, Conrad's situation, he still has some puppy in him, so to speak. So, but like I said, the dogs get up around a year age, and you working with some of these dogs, pit bulls and such, and you got real problems in problems when you're engaging a process that isn't even going to advocate properly. But you know, in terms of engaging the relationship the right way, you have to really think about what you're doing and making sure that you have kind of a plan in place, and you're going to do things in such a way that's going to truly fix the relationship. Thanks for watching.